Trump delivering a crushing blow to Haley in her home state on Saturday, trouncing her by nearly 20 points with nearly 60% of the vote. The former president dominating nearly every key group in the South Carolina Republican primary electorate, according to NBC News exit poll results. Trump now setting his sights squarely on the general election.
Meanwhile,
37% who voted Haley, who would they vote for in a general election? Lawrence needs to wait. I mean, this is like your sweet spot. How is Joe Biden looking at this 37%?
These numbers are disastrous for Donald Trump. Disastrous, okay? That's the reason I mentioned that the big forgotten number of South Carolina, which is Joe Biden getting 96%, okay? That's what you're supposed to get, all right? And Donald Trump's not going to come close to that. Donald Trump's going to leave 30%, I don't know, 25%, whatever it is. Of
37%.
Not yet. We don't know. We don't know what the result of this election is tonight. But it's going to be a very substantial number. Could be a third of the vote. He's going to leave that on the table, belonging to another candidate. All you need is 5% of the 30%. Yeah. We're talking about a sliver. Yeah. That's all you need to not vote for Donald Trump. Of this representative kind of voter in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Georgia. And so these are disastrous voting results for Donald Trump in the general election. Well, not South Carolina. He's going to win South Carolina. But that voter in the Haley vote package is represented in New Hampshire, is represented in these other states, and is represented in all the other swing states. Wisconsin, you need a tiny slice of them, and 10,000 of them.
All right, guys, so we got to follow up on Nikki Haley's disastrous night in South Carolina because she got absolutely crushed. And even some parts of the mainstream liberal media, like, for example, Kirsten Welker admitted that she got crushed. And then you have some other outlets in the mainstream liberal media, like MSNBC, saying that, well, Trump did bad because Nikki Haley got 40% of the vote. But yet they don't understand that South Carolina had an open primary, which means that Democrats, independents, and Republicans can all vote in the GOP primary. Okay, so Trump crushed Nikki Haley by 20 points when Nikki Haley had independents and Democrats able to vote for her. So Trump wasn't just competing for Republican voters, but he also was competing against Democrats who literally voted for Nikki Haley because they hate Trump. So even with Democrat voters, Nikki Haley could not beat Trump, okay? That was a crushing victory by Trump. I don't care how you look at it. And if you remove Democrats, you're probably looking at about 80-90% support within the party for Trump, which is very impressive considering the fact that Joe Biden, he didn't even have any competition at all in the Democrat primary, okay? I mean, Democrats damn near aren't having any primaries. They didn't have any debates, okay? Joe Biden's opponents are basically non-existent. I mean, Joe Biden got people running against him that aren't even eligible to be president of the United States, okay? So when you compare Joe Biden's support versus Trump, who's had to deal with actual legitimate primary opponents, okay, attacks constantly, endlessly from the mainstream liberal media, plus from the weaponization of the government, okay, his political opponents quite literally going after him on all fronts. You got to understand that Trump is performing very, very, very well considering the deck is stacked against him, okay? And Biden is not performing that well if you consider the fact that everything is stacked in his favor. So you have a lot of cope from the mainstream liberal media over the fact that Trump is dominating Nikki Haley, despite the odds being against him. And you also have Nikki Haley herself, who is coping with losing to Trump as she refuses to drop out of the race, which is a prime indicator that, hey, she is definitely in it to help out the Democrat Party. As Gavin Newsom stated eloquently, she is a surrogate for the Democrat Party at this point because she's still staying in the race despite the fact that she got blown out in her own home state.
I couldn't be more worried about America. It seems like our country is falling apart. But here's the thing. America will come apart if we make the wrong choices. This has never been about me or my political future. We need to beat Joe Biden in November. I don't believe Donald Trump can beat Joe Biden. Nearly every day, Trump drives people away, including with his comments just yesterday.
Yeah, so what I find to be ironic about Nikki Haley's statements is the fact that she claims that Trump is driving people away, even though, again, she just got crushed in her own home state. And one of the reasons why she's not dropping out is because she is the person that could beat Joe Biden, not Trump, which I don't believe, because I don't believe that if Nikki Haley was the GOP nominee, that the GOP, that the MAGA base would line up and vote for her. I don't believe that. But regardless, what she's arguing is that, well, Trump pushes people away, except it seems to me that Nikki Haley actually pushed people away in her own home state by calling them racist, right? Which is something that she did on video doing an interview with the mainstream liberal media in which she claimed that she was picked on and teased every single day for being a brown girl, in her appeal to the left that, hey, you don't understand. I definitely understand racism, right? This country is definitely racist. I experienced that racism. I experienced racism in my own hometown, right? This is what she said about her constituents, okay? And that is what brings me to this video right here that I found to be very fascinating, in which you have Benny Johnson interview people in Nikki Haley's hometown, in which he's going to ask them about her comments accusing them of being racist. And I think this video reveals a lot about how Nikki Haley is actually the person that is turning off voters. And I think it also says a lot about why Trump appeals to voters in small towns who, in my opinion, I think have been decimated by neocon and neoliberal policies that have contributed to shipping jobs overseas. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Nikki Haley's never come back to help you?
No!
Welcome to Bamberg, South Carolina, Nikki Haley's hometown. Nikki Haley talks a lot about Bamberg, typically not good things. She says this place is a horrible, racist place where she was treated racistly her entire upbringing.
We were the only Indian family in our small southern town. I was teased every day for being brown.
Oh, best believe if Nikki Haley was the general election candidate for the GOP, yeah, that is what she would be doing, right? She would be playing a race card all day long because she would be desperately trying to appeal to the left. Best believe that is who Nikki Haley is, okay? She comes out here and she tries not to play it up sometimes, but she loves playing that feminist card, and you see at times she'll definitely play the race card. So we know that she's woke. 100% Nikki Haley's woke.
On how hard it was to grow up in the deep South as a brown girl.
You sure about that?
We're here to find out if the people of Bamberg are racists and if they support Donald Trump or Nikki Haley's globalist policies that really steal and destroy from a place like this. Little, small American towns are the heartbeat of this nation. We're gonna find out today. Let's go. Nikki Haley often says that this is a place where she was treated very racistly, that people were very mean to her, and she's the victim. Have you seen anything like that? Are you a racist?
No, sir. No, sir.
Nikki Haley go flip-flop. 1 minute is this, 1 minute is that. We already know what the situation is in this city right here. It's pretty decent. Folks that I know are pretty decent. So
People have been really nice to us.
everybody that runs in football is really nice.
Nikki Haley on the campaign, she regularly talks about how growing up here, she was treated so racistly and people were so mean to her because of her race here. Have you experienced any of that in Bamberg?
I haven't.
People seem really nice here, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nikki Haley has been out on the trail, on the campaign trail, saying that when she was raised here, she was treated all racistly and everyone was so mean to her.
She was treated racistly. She treated us racistly. No, Nikki Haley.
That's an interesting.
One more thing. Let me tell you something. She ain't getting no black people nothing. The man's nothing. Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Nobody's a racist around here, man. My wife went to high school with her, and I knew her from when she had that store here in Bamberg.
So your wife went to high school with her?
Yeah.
And so all these stories about I was treated so racistly and everything, like your wife.
Crap. It's based on feeling sorry, but I don't feel sorry for nobody. Get your out there and go to work.
Nikki Haley.
Yeah, I agree with this guy, right? I like this guy a lot, okay? I think what he's saying is 100% true. So again, you notice here how you have black and white folks in a small town that quite honestly kind of reminds me of the small town that I grew up in, right? In the so-called deep South, right? In my case, North Carolina, in Nikki Haley's case, South Carolina. I didn't grow up experiencing any type of racism or bigotry, okay? Even though this is what the mainstream liberal media claims, that towns like this are deeply racist. But yet you have black folks and white folks in this town saying, no, I don't experience any racism, right? People around here aren't racist, okay? Which again goes directly against the narrative from the mainstream liberal media. But we all know what that narrative comes from. That narrative comes from a place of division, right? They want to divide people based off race to have people ignore the real problems that are affecting these towns, which is the fact that a lot of these jobs in these towns have been shipped overseas to China thanks to globalist policies that Democrats and Republicans have supported. Okay, and that is, I think, the main takeaway from this video.
Haley, when she's out on the campaign trail, she talks a lot about racism and her racist hometown and how people were so mean to her.
I don't pay any attention.
You haven't experienced anything like that?
No.
Have you experienced that in your growing up?
No. I think the racism thing is far overplayed.
What do you think? Donald Trump, Nikki Haley?
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump 100%, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Trump. President Trump.
Yes.
All the way. Let's go, Brandon.
Donald Trump.
Yes, sir. America first.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I think that voting for Haley is a wasted vote. I think Trump's going to be the nominee, and so it's probably who to go for.
Wrong with Trump.
Rolling with Trump. All right, my man, America first.
That's right.
Donald Trump or Nikki Haley?
Donald Trump.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
He's a businessman.
Yes, sir.
And he don't take no Cut that out if you like.
We have a bleep button. We have a bleep.
Yeah, but anyway.
What a lot of bullshit.
I think all of them full of to be honest with you.
Everywhere we go in Bamberg, people tell us, man, you got to go check out what's happening downtown. Not in a good way, in a bad way. Here you can see just a complete dilapidation of the city. Now, to be fair, there was some really heavy winds and a very strong storm that blew through and caused some damage. But what you can see here is a hometown that has obviously been forgotten about and utterly neglected, destroyed and ignored by the leaders and the people here in this place. People like Nikki Haley, who's from here, who's governor of this state. There haven't been businesses in these buildings for decades.
Yeah, and I think, again, this is the real problem, okay, when you talk about these small towns and what people are experiencing in this country. It's not racism, right? It's the fact that the American people have been sold out with globalist policies that have shipped jobs overseas, and it has resulted in these types of ghost towns that are plaguing middle America, okay, and rural America, okay? And I think a lot of politicians have ignored this, and Trump is the first major politician in recent memory to actually speak to the issues of rural America, which, again, is what you're saying here. Because, you know, during the 20th century, America built thousands of manufacturing plants in small cities in the South and the Midwest. I mean, there was food processing plants, auto manufacturers, textile fabric mills, cut and sew, apparel mills, paper mills, foundries, hand tool manufacturers, major appliance manufacturers, machine shops, and a whole bunch of other stuff, okay? And, you know, these jobs provided millions of Americans in the Midwest and rural America with good paying middle to upper middle class jobs, okay? And back then, these towns were robust, okay? I mean, there were businesses everywhere, shops everywhere, because there was money and opportunity in these small towns. I mean, this was the lifeblood of America. However, things began to change for these communities in the 1980s when American corporations began to outsource production and to re-engineer their organizations to adapt to globalization, okay? And what kind of really kickstarted this was in the turn of the 21st century, you had the Chinese who were allowed into the World Trade Organization, and the NAFTA agreement went into effect. Now, these changes devastated these smaller towns as these jobs basically got shipped overseas, leaving these small towns like this, where you don't have as many opportunities and good paying jobs, the money leaves, people leave these communities, they head to cities where they have more opportunities, and this is what you have, right? Okay, you have devastation. Okay, that is what has happened to rural and small town America across this country. And I really do think that, you know, politicians ignore this and they don't talk enough about what has happened to rural America. In fact, one of the things that really does motivate me to run for office, if I do decide to run for office one day, is what has happened to small town America, right? I actually would run on a platform that is mainly focused on restoring small town America and building up rural America again. In fact, I would probably run on a platform of make rural America great again, right? If I was to run as a politician, that is what I would do, because I really do think that what happened to these towns are some of the main problems that we have in this country, if not the biggest problem that we have in this country. And if we can make our small towns great again, that would be the best thing to happen to this country in order to uplift people out of poverty. I think you have a lot of drug use, a lot of crime, a lot of violence, a lot of issues that are happening in small town America because of the devastation of losing these good jobs to, countries overseas like China. So that is one of the things that is pointed out in this video that Nikki Haley almost never addresses, even though she is from a small town. And I think that's a big problem, right? I think that's a big issue. And that's part of the reason why politicians like Donald Trump are so popular, because Trump is one of the only politicians in recent history that has really spoke to a forgotten part of this country.
And this is historic downtown Bamberg, and what you're really seeing is a ghost town. And while there might have been some damage done by a storm, the true damage was done by the politicians who neglected this place, forgot about this place, and who sold all these jobs to communist China. And the person who was responsible is the hometown hero here, Nikki Haley. What do you think about Nikki Haley wanting to give hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign nations? It seems like Bamberg could use some help.
Yeah, exactly. Bamberg and the United States.
America first, right?
Yeah, I don't see why we're sending all this money to other people.
Yeah.
It make good sense.
Yes, that's right.
We need it just as bad as they do.
Why you gotta go over there another country for?
Yeah.
Or you can spend it over here in America.
Yeah, I was looking
Look how we living.
America first, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Don't need no Nikki Haley to go spend billions of dollars in another country.
Nikki Haley's never come back.
It's crazy how America first crosses racial lines, right? When you say America first, that actually brings people together. It is the most uniting message that I think we have in politics, right? I think whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, or whatever, if you're American, I think most people can resonate with the idea that we need to put our own people first before some of these other people overseas, okay? And that is a unified message that I think it really is the key to Trump winning the general election, okay? If he can unify people across races, across political affiliations and beliefs and ideologies with this idea that we need to put this country first, right? If we can all agree on that, I think that that's really going to be the key to Trump winning in 2024.
Back to help you?
No!
I do construction work. I'm the owner of Green Masonry. And we did some repairs on Main Street already. And for that street to be closed for this long period of time, I mean, something should have been done. Really, we are in the middle of everything. And you have construction workers all around here. We could have been to come in, get this thing rolling, and open Bamberg back up. Let Bamberg be Bamberg again.
We don't need to be sending money elsewhere. It needs to stay here.
Yes.
We need to find a cure for cancer. Money needs to go towards that.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yep.
What's your message, Nikki Haley? Final message, Nikki
Give
Haley.
up.
Tax dollars definitely need to go towards American infrastructure. There's definitely a call for that to happen.
America comes first, but we can still help people. We're a huge country. We got a lot going for us, but we can't let all of our resources go to everybody else. We can't. We're leaving ourselves wide open.
Yeah, so I think what you can see here is that, across all races, okay, you can see that people do agree on a common set of ideas in regards to putting this country first. Nikki Haley clearly does not do that, right? And I think that's one of the main reasons why she lost, okay? It doesn't have really much to do with racism. And I think if you actually look at the real numbers, you take Democrats out of it, she got blown out among voters that want to put this country first and want to stop shipping jobs overseas, which, again, is something that Nikki Haley rarely addresses in her own campaign in regards to how she's actually going to make her own hometown great again. She's spoken more about how racist her hometown is rather than how to build it back up to what it once was. And I think that's kind of why Trump has the support that he has, is because he does speak to these people that, again, have suffered a great deal from some of the policies, the globalist policies that the politicians and the elite have embraced for this country. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.